Well, good morning and welcome into the Real Monica Adams Show. How's your Tuesday starting off? Did you get any sleep at all? Let's talk about the crazy weather that we had yet again and the possibility of some more coming today. And you can't rule out tornadoes. In fact, the National Weather Service will be surveying to see if we did, in fact, have a couple of tornadoes last night just near the Caledonia area and south of DeSoto. So again, St. Louis and our surrounding areas have been hit hard since Friday. And of course, a lot of the damage still being surveyed. And we are thinking about those that have lost their lives in the tornadoes that happened on Friday. 5 people from our immediate area. So thoughts and prayers going out to them. Any of you, by the way, that sign on, that watch the show live or later, let us know if there's anything whatsoever that we can do for you. Because again, we keep talking about St. Louis strong, and do that hashtag, by the way, because the community has really stepped up. I'm your host, Monica Adams. I'm thrilled to have you along with us. Let us know where you're watching from. If the weather's absolutely gorgeous where you are, if you travel and you take us along with you, let us know that as well. And of course, share and like and follow our live stream. We are on multiple platforms in case you're new to the show. We're on Facebook and YouTube, as well as Instagram, X, and LinkedIn and Rumble. And again, if there's a platform you'd like for us to be on that we're not on, let us know that as well. Well, I was just talking about the weather. So there is a possibility of some more severe weather coming later into this afternoon. So I'm going to give you this 10-day forecast and then also break down looking at some of the areas that could be affected by some severe weather later today. So here you go. As you can see, according to our friends over at KMOV, another first alert weather day. Some scattered storms are possible later into this afternoon. A high of 82, so a warm day again. We get down to 56. We do have the cards in action. Tomorrow, though, looks beautiful, and that's true springtime weather. 72 degrees, partly sunny skies. We have St. Louis City SC in action and the cards as well. Breezy, 51 for a low. Thursday and Friday looking great, right? 68 for the high on Thursday, Friday 71. And then we get into the weekend and into Memorial Day. So your holiday weekend does have rain, but I mean, if you look back in history, it's always a little bit humid and a little bit rainy around the Memorial Day holiday. But in the 70s, doesn't look too bad. We get into next week, some pretty days as well. Tuesday, Wednesday, no rain mentioned at this point. And then Thursday, a slight chance of rain with a high around 79. Now, as I mentioned, there is a possibility for us to see severe weather, again, depending on where you live. So let's look more specific into the areas that could be affected. You see, it's more south of St. Louis. So for those going into southern Jefferson County, down in towards Farmington, and then to the east, we'll be keeping an eye 12 o'clock time frame, and then in towards 4 o'clock, it looks like it's moving out of the St. Louis metropolitan area. But just be weather aware. Expect some scattered storms, and depending on the way the temperature and the way the models look, it is favorable for the possibility of some hail and tornadic conditions. Again, hopefully that doesn't happen. We will, of course, let you know, and keep yourself weather aware. Maybe have your apps ready to go with your local TV stations and your favorite meteorologists. I would love for you to follow ours, aspiring meteorologist Beckett Moore. Check out his YouTube page and his X page, and he'll let you know if anything's coming our way. Of course, as we mentioned, there's still a lot of damage that's being surveyed. People are asking, where's the National Guard, things like that. Surveying the damage is what's taking place right now in several areas, and the damage from trees, roof damage, widespread and extensive. Many brick homes have either partial or full collapse of their exterior walls, leaving piles of bricks in the path of destructive tornado. Residents describing their nightmare coming true and sharing messages as they move forward. We mentioned yesterday that there are shelters that have been set up, and in fact, if you go to our friends at KMOV.com, you'll see that those shelters and the list of where you can go and what you can do for the community just keeps growing. Again, St. Louis strong, coming out and helping families and businesses alike. Some people are having a hard time finding tarps and finding wood to actually board up the area. And then with the strong storms that we had last night, it created even more problems, unfortunately, for them. There are thousands of linemen, by the way, that are working around the clock o'clock to bring power back to the storm-shocked St. Louis. There were about 2,000 linemen from Missouri and surrounding states working in the storm zone, as I mentioned, nonstop. They're working 17-hour shifts, only 7 hours rest to try and meet the repair needs for the hardest hit areas of St. Louis. One of the major challenges is repairing the hundreds of poles and the power junctions, the lines, and the other infrastructure that was damaged or pulled down by the storm on Friday. Officials with Ameren say on a clear weather day with no debris, replacing a power pole may only take 4 hours, but with the damage from the storm, it's tough to say how long each power pole replacement may take. I hope you have your power back on. Ours went out for a few hours last night with the strong storm. So again, many of you still trying to get power back from Friday, and then you may have had it affected again with what we had last night, and hopefully it won't happen again with what we have later this afternoon. Now, some of the concerns happening from homeowners that are thinking that are they being taken advantage of? They're trying to see, are the people coming to their homes legit, right? Are the phone calls and the text messages that they're getting legit? I would highly recommend that you reach out yourself to the insurance companies, reputable ones at that. Again, some homeowners are saying they feel they've already gotten the runaround from their insurance companies. They're concerned it will actually take weeks for agents to act. Hopefully that's not the case with yours, but as we always say, take it into your own hands. If your agent's not working for you, then I'd highly recommend that you find another one. The one that I'm going to recommend to you is one that we had as a sponsor last year, State Farm agent Kathy Kilo Peterson. She's phenomenal, and so is her whole team. So if you're looking for someone to take care of you, I would recommend that. Now, there are first responders that are continuing to assess the damage. They were looking for people that may have been displaced, helping them get into homes. But we're also talking about officials coming to the area, like Missouri Senator Josh Hawley, as well as our governor, Governor Kehoe, providing an update on resources, saying that they are ready to respond. The National Guard, if requested, State Emergency Management, Governor Kehoe issuing that statement. No identified missions as of right now, but a lot of people are asking, where is the National Guard? So again, on standby, if they're requested, they would show up. I'm surprised that we haven't had that already in action. Now, one of the areas that families love to go to, the St. Louis Zoo, a lot of you know that they were affected because one of the hardest hit areas when the tornadoes came through on Friday was that Clayton, Central West End area, and then it went into North City, but it did affect Forest Park and the zoo. Of course, my question, probably like a lot of yours right away, were the animals okay? The animals were fine, and after closing for a couple of days following the storms on Friday, they did in fact reopen yesterday. The majority of the zoo's attractions reopen. Some places, though, still restricted. The goal is to have all of that open by Memorial Day weekend, which of course is going to be a very busy one for them. According to zoo officials, the weekend-long closure resulted in a loss of more than $500,000 in revenue. One of the trees crashed into the butterfly house, damaging several of the acrylic panels. So the butterfly house in Chesterfield rescued the butterflies from the zoo. The damage inside the zoo included toppled trees, metal poles that sheared off. Thankfully, no reports of any injuries to animals or to people. Well, we just mentioned Memorial Day weekend. As we go into that, we always hope that gas prices will go down. Well, you're going to get your wish. They are actually the cheapest that we've seen in 4 years, just in time for Memorial Day. The national average price of a gallon of gas expected to be $3.08 on Memorial Day. If you consider inflation, it's the cheapest gas that we've seen since 2003. That's fantastic news. But again, always, for those of you that live on the Illinois side, I know you get frustrated because your gas is much more expensive than it is on the Missouri side. However, I'm looking at gas prices, both Missouri and Illinois. And again, as we mentioned, it is down. Here's some health news for you. So if you have someone that you know suffers from AFib, there is a new device that they're looking to use. And it's an alternative, actually, to blood thinners, providing AFib patients the same protection from a stroke. So I've been keeping an eye on this for you. As we get more information, I'll pass it along. But look at this as my mom actually just had had a TAVR procedure. And the other pictures that we have for those that might be suffering from AFib, it looks very similar to that. This is from Boston Scientific. So as they go in and they do this procedure, it's an alternative and actually helping. A lot of AFib patients say that they're seeing good results from it. But as I mentioned, my mom had a TAVR procedure, and that little apparatus that I'm seeing on the bottom picture looks very similar to that. So I'm wondering, again, not a doctor, so I'm wondering if in fact that may be the case. All right, for all of our parents that love to watch or have your kids watch Sesame Street, where can they find it? Well, it was always on PBS, but now they can look to Netflix. It's going to stay on PBS, but it's just another opportunity for them. Netflix has thrown Sesame Street a safety net with a new streaming deal that offers the popular children's staple a broad reach while helping it on its long-standing home, which is, of course, where we all watch it as kids, PBS. Starting later this year, new episodes will run on Netflix, PBS, and the PBS Kids app on the same day. No specific premiere date was immediately announced. Select past episodes will be available on Netflix, worldwide. All right, we're talking about soccer, St. Louis City SC. I heard something in the news early this morning when I was driving in saying that after 10 games for St. Louis City SC, that they have not won a game yet, and that is possibly putting the job of our head coach, our new head coach, on the line. No word yet, but some people are talking about the possibility of him being fired. I hope it doesn't happen, but maybe the team can turn things around because they've got a game tomorrow night, 6:30 against Minnesota, and that is a U.S. Open Cup round of 16. Colorado and St. Louis will be in action on Saturday. That game, by the way, is a late one at 8:30. Well, look at the Cardinals. The Cardinals are like, hey, I'm tired of hearing that we're in a reset season. Coming up with a win, 11 runs to win and beat the Detroit Tigers 11-4. It's the Tigers and the Cardinals today. First pitch is at 6:45, and then tomorrow the game is at 12:15. All right, our National Day of Calendar. We've got 5 things to tell you about today. It is National Rescue Dog Day, National Streaming Day, National Be a Millionaire Day, National Pick Strawberries Day, National Sugar Bee Apple Day, and National Quiche Lorraine Day. Now, I want to go back to the National Rescue Dog Day for a second. I just saw that Church from Yuppie Puppies Forever Rescue was adopted and actually has gone home to its new home. So congratulations to Church. The dog that I absolutely loved, Dumpling, we told you about a week ago, Dumpling got a new home. And then Swiss, by the way, which is Jenny's favorite dog from Yuppie Puppies Forever Rescue. Swiss, we are hoping we're going to get a home hopefully very soon or in a couple of weeks. I've got a couple of friends that are very interested in Swiss, which will make Jenny happy because then she's going to want to go and visit Swiss. If you have never seen our Positive Talk Time segment, we do it every other Thursday. It won't be this week. It'll be next week that we'll be back with Jessica Cook. Hopefully you saw last week's where we did a Barking Baker segment number 2. It was such a blast. Really fun time. We made some great natural treats, and hopefully you got those recipes. I want to take a moment before we get into our show today and welcome aboard a brand new sponsor. This is a first. This is our national sponsor. In the last 2 years, we've had a lot of wonderful local sponsors, and we want to thank all of them, by the way, but this is our first national. So welcome aboard to Crunch Fitness. I'm so excited for this and a lot of things that are taking place. In fact, today is the big day. They have their preview party, the big VIP preview party from 5 to 8 p.m. tonight. And this is their second location in our area. They opened up in Florissant a few weeks ago, but this is the newest Crunch Fitness in Manchester, located at 151 Highlands Boulevard in the former Best Buy. New members can join for $1, get their first month free, plus receive a complimentary 1-hour personal training session. Again, Crunch Fitness Manchester, 151 Highlands Boulevard. If you want to know more about them, it's crunch.com, best known for their colorful personality, their world-class group fitness classes. And if you're interested in trying them out, you can visit them on social media or at crunch.com to get a free 3-day all-access pass to try everything that they have to offer. One of the things I know a lot of parents are excited about, the kids' crunch hours, Monday through Friday, 8 to 1 and 4 to 8. Then they have Saturday and Sunday hours as well. They've got some classes. It says tomorrow, but it is tonight. Their classes are belly button thighs at 5:15, top it off at 5:45. They're going to do some Zumba at 6, intro to HIIT at 6:15, 6:30 they're going to do ride, and 7:15 they are going to do yoga. Again, thank you, Crunch Fitness, for believing in the Real Monica Adams Show and being our first national sponsor. And I hope this is the sign of great things to come. I want to thank Crunch Fitness as well as Regional Dermatology. Dr. Sarah Jensen is back on with us, and she is on the beginning of the month each month, and can't wait whatever you would like to hear her talk about with regards to your skin in the dermatology world. We, of course, thank Defiance Ridge Vineyards and Yuppie Puppy Pet Spa in Cottleville and O'Fallon, as well as, of course, Yuppie Puppies Forever Rescue, our friend Dot Fleshman with Coldwell Banker Gundaker, and Carroll House Furniture. Would you like to join us? We would love to have you. If you are interested in being a sponsor or having us out as a mobile Monica, just reach out to us at info@TheRealMonicaAdams.com. All right, folks, good morning to each and every one of you that are on with us. Let your friends and family know. Let me say good morning to some friends. Sean, Linda, good morning. No sleep, she says. Getting crazy. I know the weather was nuts. Kathleen Morris, good morning to you. Julie Purcell, good morning. Rose, let's see, getting yelled at, loud, getting out of bed, go downstairs when you're in a deep sleep is no fun. The crack of the thunder that we had last night, it's the first time I've ever seen Adelaide scared. Cheaper gas, woohoo, Julie says. Yes, I know, it's a good thing, right? Michelle said, yay, church. I know, right? She only goes somewhere I can visit her. That's what Jenny says about Swiss. Congratulations to the team. Welcome Crunch Fitness to the family. Michelle's saying from New Hampshire. Michelle, thanks for watching early this morning. We appreciate it. And to all of you. All right, we're going to talk today about a mental, a physical, a spiritual awakening. Yesterday, I hope you had a chance to watch Joey Griffith. He talked about the spirituality of hunting. Well, our friend that owns where we are here, our studios at Adventure Unknown, Scott Schuessler and his wife, Johanna Schuessler, wonderful people. Scott just came back from a trip in Alaska. And from what I saw on social media, it's the reason I wanted to bring him on today. It almost broke him. It was one of the hardest things he's ever gone through in his life, physically, mentally, spiritually. So he had an awakening, but our story with him today is for each and every one of you. I want you to see yourself in today's show. Scott Schuessler will be our guest when I return.
My house is so outdated and old. Can you help?
Let's take down this wall and add a support beam there.
Or just replace the furniture.
I love it.
New sofa, chaise lounge, and tables from Carroll House.
What about this bedroom?
Let's tear down this wall.
Or a new bed, dresser, and accessories.
It's like a whole new room.
Get free in-home design, fast free delivery, and free financing too. Skip the remodel. Add new furnishings from Carroll House for your perfect room. Because you like nice things.
Being on this show with Monica created such a heart-centric experience. I feel elevated. I feel more in tune, more connected with people. I really enjoyed how Monica brings in the audience and how Monica's viewers are just incredibly engaged. And so it actually creates this community and a conversation that is so enjoyable. You can see, Monica get excited, and then as her guest, I was getting excited, and then more and more comments were coming in from Monica's incredible, loyal audience, and it just created this uplifting feeling to start your day. So much of our news is negative. So much of what we're allowing to enter into our brains through our TVs, through our radios, through social media is negative. And what is refreshing for me in joining Monica on her incredible show is just the focus on the positivity. It is an honor to be on the Monica Adams, the real Monica Adams show, and also to just be able to engage with Monica's audience, because this community is full of love and full of people who want to help each other.
Here we are. Say hey. Hi. Say bye. That's right. Here she goes. See you in 14 days. Hopefully sooner. So it's 5 o'clock in the morning, the first morning. 40-mile-an-hour wind gusts and pouring down rain. Yeah, we're not going hunting right away. Pouring down rain. No rain.
Well, welcome back, folks. And I just heard my friend say this place was so different than anything in the world. And what he went through physically, mentally, spiritually, and his awakening is what we want to talk about today. He just got back, by the way, and we're the first show where he is going to tell us what he experienced. So let me bring my friend on, Scott Schuessler, the owner, by the way, of Adventure Unknown, where our offices are. Welcome back, my friend.
Thanks.
I just got chills watching some of that. And we've got more, by the way. We've got a ton of footage that Scott has provided us. You've not posted anything on social yet, have you?
No,
or did you last night?
I took a minute to try to think about it. I haven't. Something's going to come. Everyone just keeps telling me I need to write it, or it's just so hard to explain what I went through. I don't know how it's going to come across yet.
Well, I'm honored that you have come onto our show first to talk about all of this and get it out. And by the way, for all of you, as you listen to Scott's story, I want you to hear and see yourself in the story and anything that you've gone through or thought that you couldn't go through, the struggles that you think you can't overcome from a physical side, a mental side, a spiritual side. So let's break this all down. We're going to talk about some other adventures, etc., that they've been on, his family, friends, members here at Adventure Unknown. We'll talk about, by the way, if you haven't heard of what Adventure Unknown is all about, feel free to make any comments or ask Scott any questions now while you're watching live, or if you can't stay with us live, make sure you come back to the show. So first of all, tell everybody where you went.
I went to Alaska on an island called Kodiak, Alaska. It's the second largest island in the United States, just behind the big island of Hawaii, but extremely remote.
What would it be closest to?
I mean, it's, I guess, the very south part of Alaska, on the west side as you're going out to the Aleutian Islands. It's on its way out there.
Okay.
It's the start of those islands.
And you had never been there before?
I have been
there.
there.
Oh, you have?
Yeah,
okay.
I have. So I knew kind of a guess of what I was signing up for.
Okay.
But, you kind of mentally prepare. You say it's going to be the worst experience. It's going to be miserable. And then you realize it's way worse in dealing with the elements.
Yeah.
But, when you come back, you're like, I made it through. The word survived is like the true, I survived.
And the reason he's saying that, I was at lunch with your wife and she started telling us, and she's like, Monica, I got to tell you, she said, I hadn't had a chance to talk with Scott for several days, and then this call came in. You were calling on a satellite phone. She didn't recognize the number, and how many of us don't pick up a call? And then ended up getting your voicemail, and she was like, "Oh my God, it was him." He called back, and she said you could hear that you were almost broken. Crying. She was crying. Come on, let's be honest, right? Let's be real.
It's not getting it's
No,
not-
come on.
Yeah.
So first of all, we'll come back to that. You had been how many other times?
I've been there once before,
Once,
but to
okay.
go this long, zero communication, zero. So a week in, my guide, it's just me and a guide, and there's nothing besides you and the elements, a tent, freeze-dried food, you're cold wet 24/7, and it breaks you down. So not to talk to, I had no texting, no email, no phone calls, no ability to tell people I was okay. You're in an area where you're with bears, like the biggest species of brown bears in the United States, and you're a good meal for them. So
When you went last time, you were there for how many days?
4 days.
4 days. And was it the choice of you, the guide, anybody else you were with that said, nope, we're done?
No, I shot my bear on day 3, and I wanted to get out of there as fast as possible. I mean, he's like, well, let's go maybe hunt for a fox or something. I'm like, no, let's get out of here. I am not okay with this place. And I thought I would never come back. I said it to so many people, I'm never coming back to this place. It's just not a comfortable place. But then I just didn't feel successful. I didn't, there was something in me that says I needed to do this again to try to accomplish the full hunt. I didn't leave early. I shot my bear. I was successful. I was happy. But it was pretty much the first bear I could have shot, and I took it. And so I was super happy. But when I came back, I'm like, man, I don't know that I gave up early, but I just didn't have the full experience. So this time I went in saying, it's a 14-day hunt. You can't stay longer than 14 days.
Okay.
Most people give up. Well, there was 2 hunters before me this year on a 14-day hunt. They both gave up on day 2.
Oh, day 2. Wow.
Yeah.
What is the average? I think I heard maybe 5 or 6.
Yeah. Most people don't make 14, like almost everybody. So you can either shoot an animal earlier if you're lucky, or you say, I can't deal with this. And that's, most people are the second.
Again, if you're just tuning in, we're talking to Scott Schuessler about this awakening that he's had in his life. Again, he'd been there before, but did you do the whole 14 days?
This time, yeah.
Yes. So 14 days, can you imagine that? So a lot of people think, oh, I go to a resort and it's beautiful and they don't want me to have any phones or TVs in the room. That's fun. Okay, that's different. He's talking about elements. So talk about the elements. Like, how severe are we talking?
Well, in 14 days, I think it rained every day. Then one day, it was actually, sun came out, still 40 degrees, but rain, cold, windy, 24/7. You can't dry out. You can't warm up. You're wet in your sleeping bag. You're wet when you get out of the sleeping bag. It's when you're wet and you can't dry off and you can't warm up and there's no running water. You have a tent, and that's your only protection. You climb a mountain every single day to try. I mean, it's a hunting trip, and not everyone appreciates hunting, and that's fine. But that's not what it's really about. Is can you accomplish that trip? And it was a challenge. It was a personal challenge. It's a lot more of a personal challenge than I expected.
And that's where I want to go with it, because you've been on hunts. And again, yesterday we talked about hunting, and as Scott just said, and this is a no judgment zone. The reason I want to do so many different topics on this show is to keep an open mind. No, I have my entire life said, I don't understand hunting. I love animals so much. I couldn't kill an animal. But when I started talking about bringing my show over here, Scott and Johanna sat down and they're like, you know what, Monica, we go on trips with a lot of people. They are the same mindset that you have. And almost every one of them says, oh, I get it now. Let me do this. What is it of the draw for those that you're already in love with hunting, but for those that are not, that would make the switch? Is it the spiritual side that you talk about? Is it the appreciation for the animal? What is it?
I mean, there's a lot more to it, and I am very understanding of people that don't like hunting, and it doesn't bother me at all. But
Right.
what people don't understand is conservation is a humongous part in my belief and my understanding of hunting and why we do it. But every animal that I take is eaten or donated to somebody who most likely has tears in their eyes when you're giving them this meat to feed their family. And I'm serious about that. We're hunting in Africa and Argentina, and those people wouldn't eat unless you provided it for them. And so actually you get a really quick feeling, should I go shoot another animal so I can help feed more people? And it's serious, and it's personal. So Africa's become one of our favorite places on earth because of that feeling. And so Alaska, oh, you're hunting bears, and people are, oh, you're so teddy bear. Bear hunting in Alaska is so regulated. I mean, I had to go buy a tag and get registered and licensed, and then I had to go to the Fish and Game, and that's the only place I've actually had to go in person and register and be in person and know the rules. They know exactly how many bears need to be taken every year so that humans don't suffer. And there's more bears on that island than humans. Last time I was there 6 years ago, there were 3 bear attacks on humans the 6 days that I was on the island. So
you're looking at it as saving another human,
yeah,
right?
I mean, it is. And adult male bears eat cubs. And so if there's too many male bears, because they want the mom to be in heat. So if they eat the cubs, the mom goes into heat faster. So they breed, and then they try to kill the cubs, and then they want to breed again. So there's a lot of conservation and control of the population. If there's too many bears, just like if there's too many deer, the issues happen. They would go starving, suffering. So there's a lot more to it, but we don't go too much into that. But
no, but I get that. And in my years of being in news and covering, and of course we all think of Bambi, right? The deer. But when people started saying, but if this doesn't happen, it's what happens as they're so confused, obviously, right? They're running out, and then there's all these accidents are happening to people and damage to your cars and all those things. I get that. And once I started understanding that, I wrapped my brain around it. Again, this is not for you to talk about shaming. Oh, don't shoot an animal, whatever. But that's not what we're doing today. We're talking about what he's been through, what he just recently went through. Michelle just said, wow, male bears are selfish jerks. Jeannie, oh my gosh, are there guides or anyone nearby if you need to get out? So you had one guide with you.
It was me and a guide, and my guide actually had his assistant guide with him. They never got a chance to hunt together. So I've hunted with my guide before. He wanted to bring us. So I actually had 2 guides and me most of the time. Yeah. So he had a satellite phone for emergencies. We have a kind of a GPS crud button. If we hit that,
crud button,
the Coast Guard will show up, and if it's a life-threatening situation, that's your only form of communication.
And no matter what, obviously, that guide's never leaving your side. When you say, I'm done, or you're done with the 14 days, you both go back together.
Right.
Again, if you're just tuning in, Scott Schuessler, the owner of Adventure Unknown, and we're talking about his latest adventure, one of the most difficult that he's been through. If you've got any questions or comments for Scott, let me know. I'll look on all of our pages. Again, whether you are able to talk live or if you want to write #replay when you watch this later. Jenny said, what an inspirational journey. And let's talk about the journey. So you have a part of that video that we showed where you're moving your foot around and looking, and I'm sure you probably had blisters left and right. From a physical side, let's break each one of these down. Mm-hmm. Physical side, how demanding was it on your body?
It's the hardest thing I ever had to do. So it's a 12-day hunt. You can't hunt the first day or the last day, so it's 14 days there. They drop you off on a float plane, and you set up a camp, and every day you got to climb a mountain to go. I'm searching for a bear, to hunt a bear.
You're climbing how far? Altitude?
It's usually a 3 to 6 mile hike up, in rain, wind, freezing cold, past water, creeks, but you're climbing a mountain every day. And you climb the mountain. Yes, that's the most physically challenged thing I've ever had to do, is climb a mountain 12 days in a row. But very quick it gets to the mental side where, if I shoot a bear today, I don't have to climb this mountain tomorrow. And that's would be awesome. And I can fly out, seaplane out the next day, and I can get a hot shower. And so when you don't shoot a bear that day and you have to climb back down the mountain, you know the next morning at 5 o'clock you're going right back up.
So there's a sense of being defeated. I have to do this again. I have to tackle this again. All those things go through your mind?
Yeah, and the difference between, and I thought about this a lot, knowing I'd have to talk about it and trying to describe this in a non-hunting way to a non-hunter. This is like running a marathon, but in a marathon, it's only you. It's your mental capacity, your strength. Can you do it? Nothing will keep you from doing it other than you. Mm-hmm. In a hunting, there's a third party involved, and I can climb a mountain 100 times, but if that bear never shows up, it never decides to climb the same mountain I do, or show up or come out of the woods, then I can never be successful. And so my success is not truly just based on my efforts. It has a third party is involved also, and so my way of describing this is I'm going to climb a mountain every day that I have to. And this bear or this third party or in a race description, that the guy with the medal is going to decide on his own or her own which mountain they're going to climb too. And if you both climb the same mountain on the same day, it might be day 1, it might be day 50. That's when your race is over, is when you both are there and you get the medal. But how many times are you going to run this race and when you don't know when the race is over? You don't know if you're going to finish it that day, and if you're going to run it one more day or 12 more days.
So you never see the finish line.
I didn't.
Right.
I know. So I could have finished on day 1, and I could have flown out on day 2, and that I would have been successful on the hunt. But could I have made it through 14 days of misery? I mean, misery in a physical, mental way. But I mean, now that it's over, I did it. I really survived the harshest elements I've ever been in.
And that's where I want to go, right? So people look at life and see things that are insurmountable in their minds. There's no way I could do that. If I did this, I could, but there's always excuses. There's always something to give up, give up, give up. I want you to take this right now. This is a teaching moment for you, whatever it is that you're struggling through in life. So Scott decides to take it head on, meet the challenge head on. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll see a little bit more of the footage from Kodiak Island, Alaska. Scott Schuessler just returned. You just came back Saturday, right?
Sunday morning.
Sunday morning? Yeah. So this is very, very fresh on his mind. I want to go from the physical into the mental, into the spiritual side of this and the true awakening. That's what we're talking about today. Don't go anywhere.
This lady got me in the best shape of my life. I literally didn't know that I could be in shape like that. But the amount that she pours into her clients, and especially whenever you get the one-on-one training, it's mind-blowing. I mean, it was really life-changing. I learned so much about proper form, about nutrition, about just being able to invest in myself. I hired Monica to be my personal trainer, which was one of the best decisions I've ever made.
Heading back for a 3-hour, 3-mile hike back to camp. Day 4 done. No bears. This is the end of
Welcome back. Again, if you're just tuning in and you missed the first half hour of the show, be sure to go back. You don't have to go back right now. Continue to watch, listen. By the way, share right now. Share this with your friends and family. If you have anyone that has overcome something in life and they have also met that challenge head on, have them watch this. It might take them back to that memory. Or if they're struggling with something right now, whatever it may be, as Scott said, he's telling his story, but I want you to see yourself in the story. Scott Schuessler, the owner of Adventure Unknown, and he's gone on several adventures. The most recent, he just returned on Sunday. Again, 14 days, Kodiak Island, Alaska. And you saw it in the elements. And so for a lot of people, it is, do I have the strength within me to get through this? The cold, the wind, the rain, it looks miserable and miserable and miserable. And I'm sure you're going to say, it was, Monica. There's no sugarcoating that.
Yeah, it's funny. Everyone says, "Oh, did you have a fun trip?" Like, fun's not the word. And they said, "Oh, well, what was it? What did you learn?" And I'm like, I'm still trying to figure that out. But yeah, I mean, you 3-4 miles uphill every morning. Start at 5:30 in the morning, and so you're hiking up with all your gear for the whole day. Whatever's on your back is what you have. You're gonna sweat so much climbing the mountain, and then when you get to the top, all you want to do is take your shirt off because it's soaking wet, and then you immediately freeze. And then you're putting on as many layers. I get 5-6 layers on, with rain gear. Sometimes when you're hiking, it's rain and you got rain gear on and you're sweating because you can't breathe through it. So, you're sweating on the inside. Are you wetter on the inside of the rain gear or on the outside? And it's a true, I mean, it's just like, why am I wearing rain gear? I'm trying to stay warm, but you're
working against yourself back and forth, right? Catch 22. How do you, okay, we're going to get into the mental side. We're talking about the physical side of it all. But before you ever go on this, what did you do to prepare?
Well, I worked out a lot. Physically, I knew I needed my knees in shape. And so I did do CrossFit. That helped me a lot. I'm not a CrossFit fan, but it did help me. So my legs actually succeeded well. I was pretty happy because I don't have the best knees from college volleyball.
That's a lot of core strength too.
Yeah, I mean, carrying backpacks, 40, 50-pound backpacks up and down, it puts toll on. I was most worried about blisters on my feet, and so I was very early on. Every time hotspot, I was putting tape and bandages all over, and I did pretty good. I only had about 3 spots that could have gone bad. Last few hunts I've done didn't go so well with feet and blisters, but those were the 2 physical things, and I was prepared for those, and I knew that would be an issue, and I was ready for them. But right, the mental side, it's different.
Okay, and that's what I was going to say. So there's one thing about doing CrossFit or going on hikes and then going on backpack hikes and packing the gear properly, making sure that you are organized and prepared. All those things have to happen. When you have all that in place and you have some of it working against you, and then something starts to break down in you. Sometimes it's the physical side where people feel like I can't go on. And then they're thinking, nope, this side went well. Now it goes into the mental side. So when the physical side's going well, but your mental side breaks down, your physical side sometimes has to take over. Which one of these, your mental, your physical, your spiritual, was the hardest on this trip?
Probably spiritual. And it kind of, well, day 7 happened, and my guide's like, well, maybe you should call your family and tell them you're alive, and that's a real, I didn't know my family on this side was that worried. I'm going to be all messed up right now, but so I call home, and I get my daughter Kinley to answer, and she immediately was so like, "Dad, you're alive." And I'm like,
yeah.
And she's so like even keel that I didn't know.
So she's real strong, and was that feeling like it was breaking her a bit?
Yeah, I didn't know she was so worried. I'm like, crud, this is not bad. So when I talked to all of them, and I couldn't talk. They're all like, "Dad, what's wrong?" And I couldn't talk. It was so bad. So
why do you think? What was happening in that moment?
Well, I realized that my family was missing me, and they're worried, and I was so focused on being successful for 6 days. I was like, all right, I'm going to get my bear today. I'm going to get out of here tomorrow. I'll be back to my club and my life and family. And it just wasn't happening. And in day 7, I'm like, all right, now I've turned the corner. I'm halfway, and now I'm halfway done. And so, my days are running out. the thought of not being successful starts hitting your brain. And well, I've wasted 7 days away from my kids, and then what if I don't get a bear? I came here for nothing, or did I come here for nothing? And then my guides are very Christian, same as me, and he's like, well, if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. I'm like, well, it's true, but I don't know that I like that statement. Why would it not be meant to be? If all the stories he's telling me of the past hunters, they've given up or failed, and I'm like, I am not giving it up. I told him on day 2, I am not leaving early, and he's like, I've heard that before. And I'm like, well, no, I'm actually different. I'm pretty good at when I say something, I'm going to do it, because I get pretty frustrated when people say and they don't do it. So I'm like, I'm not giving up. He's like, well, I hope so. Well, no, I'm really not giving up. So, and he said, well, it might not be meant to be. And, like, well, but why not? What have I done that I don't deserve this success? Or I'm going to give it everything I have and then a whole lot more and still not be successful. It's like, that starts weighing on you. Then now you're talking to God and saying, why? So that was tough. And then, you're praying every day and trying to have conversations in your head. I mean, you have nothing to do but think all day.
Which for a lot of people is a very scary place to be. So many people don't like, and you've got the wind blowing and there's all those noises. But that's life, right? There's noise and chaos in our lives. And we have to figure out, how do we come to the center and be able to focus and find silence and be okay with silence, be okay with our own thoughts. You had nothing more than to be with your thoughts.
100%.
Right? And so there's a lot of life that I'm probably thinking that you thought of, things that were in the past, that are in the now, that are in the future, trying to stay in the now of here. This is what I'm here for. I didn't decide to leave my family and not have any connection with them for any other reason than to go through this physical, mental, spiritual challenge. So you finally did have a chance to talk to your family. What day was it? 7?
Well, I said day 7.
Day
yeah.
7.
Yeah.
Did you talk with them again during this?
So that was on Saturday, and then I said, well, tomorrow's Mother's Day. I said I'll try to call back again the next day.
Is that the day that Johanna missed your call?
No, it was Saturday, because I actually called Johanna first. She didn't answer, so I called Kenley second. And and then I said, well, I'll try to get a hold of. So I asked Kenley, how's everyone doing? And everyone was still alive and fine. So I talked to Johanna the next day, and on Sunday. And then that was it. I said, you'll hear from me either if I shoot a bear, I'm heading home, or Thursday's the last day of the hunt. You'll hear from me Friday when I get back to Signal. And they heard from me Friday.
And you got a bear?
I did not.
You did not get a bear. So you went through this whole hunt, and then you come back on Sunday, and now you're processing it all. You've talked several times throughout this hour of, well, if I'm here and I'm praying and it's not happening, I'm questioning, well, why wouldn't it? Do you feel like you've come back? I hope you don't feel like a failure, because there's so much that you went through in that. But is it hard for you, not as a hunter, as a man, so many things to feel that way?
Yeah, very hard. So I'm processing what I gained or what I learned, and I've talked to a handful of people yesterday, and they're like, "Oh, you gained so much more this route versus the other route." And I've learned that I'm a lot tougher than I think I am, but I'm a lot softer also. I mean, I'm not a crier. I haven't cried in front of someone in my life. And now, I mean, every time I think about that, I get like right now, I get that feeling. I don't know where this came from. 8 days ago, I wasn't this way, and now I am.
Well, what lesson do you think you learned from this?
Daughters make you soft. Yeah, I mean, I was, I tried calling Al. I wanted to call 3 of my daughters, and my youngest didn't pick up. So I told Johanna when I talked to her, I'm like, you need to tell Allie I miss her hugs. I was so mad I couldn't tell her that. So it was, I don't know where it came from. It was, I mean, yeah, internally became so much closer, I guess, with my daughter. So
See, and I think that's what's powerful. You go there obviously wanting the hunt, but I think you came back with so much more.
yeah, I think so. I'm still trying to figure that out.
Well, that'll take a while. You're not going to snap the fingers and think, here, I figured out what I was supposed to learn from this. I know you're going to continue to pray, being a faith-based man, of, God, what did you want me to learn? What do you want me to continue to learn? What do you want me to continue to do as a human being for my family, for my friends, for this club? We keep talking about the club, by the way. We're going to give them a break for a second. Let's talk about Adventure Unknown, because you might want to go on something like this. You might want to challenge yourself. You might want to find just how tough you are. That's the information, by the way, of Adventure Unknown. We're here in the Fenton area at 1505 Fenn Park Drive. If you're interested we're not talking about, oh, this is a club about hunting. No, this is a club about camaraderie, about businesses, lifting up businesses, about friendships, about community coming together, which, by the way, we're seeing tremendously after what we saw on Friday. You were not here during the tornadoes. I'm glad that you weren't here for that. I mean, it's what we went through as a community and what we're still going through. It is community strong, right? We're going to look at the comments. There's a lot of comments coming in. And again, why don't you thank Scott for being so raw, because that's what I ask for everyone to do when they come on the show, is to be as raw and real as possible. But again, a lot of adventures that can take you to all ends of the world, with friends, with couples. Again, if you are a hunter, I mean, look at that. A Utah elk hunt, a South African safari hunt, local global duck hunts. So they've been on so many different things. What's been your biggest hunt, by the way?
Well, biggest, this was the toughest. I mean, I've been to Argentina, I've been to New Zealand hunting, I've been to Africa 3 times now, hunting. You know, I love hunting. My family, my kids have all learned to appreciate it. But the club is, well, you know, maybe it's 20% hunting, it's 80% non-hunting.
Yeah.
We wanted this club to be inclusive of all ideas and all personalities. And if you're the right personality, if you're here to give and here to support, then you're probably a good member for this club. You know, the trips are to make it very easy for people to create strong, quick relationships. And that's what we offer, is you can grow in your friendships much faster when we put you in an awesome place and you're nothing but, wow, this is awesome. And everything's taken care of it for you. So,
Yeah, Johanna, his wife, by the way, is in the travel industry and is able to get some remarkable trips at incredible prices. And it might be a girlfriend trip. She actually was talking to me and saying, Monica, I know that you're all about helping people mentally, physically, spiritually. Again, doing the life coaching, doing the personal training. She's like, why don't we talk about doing a travel retreat? And I was like, you know what? I've been talking about that for a long time and it hasn't happened. So that is something behind the scenes, by the way. We'll give you some breaking news here that we are planning. So yeah, we've done a few here locally, but now it's taking maybe those same people to take them to the next level, to find out, you know, what's missing in their lives. And sometimes you do have to get away, to be away from the normal day-to-day things that you do and be alone with your thoughts, your words, you know, and challenging yourself. So we might challenge you. We might take you through the mental side of the aspect as well. But yeah, Adventure Unknown. If you're interested, by the way, we'd love for you to come up and check it out. Beautiful facility, as you saw with some of those pictures, but the pictures don't do it justice. You have to come walking through, and more so meet the people. And here, that's what we did. So we joined a handful of months ago, and I need to be up here more. I need to slow down. Maybe you can teach me that, to slow down a little bit and be up here with everybody instead of the rush. Again, Scott Schuessler, we're talking about an awakening for him. And what he does now is he carries it forward and how he can teach others. We'll look at your questions and have him answer those as well, or any comments. Just again, to thank Scott for being as real as he has been today. Don't go anywhere. More of the Real Monica Adams Show to come.
Carroll House Furniture Homes look the best because of our free design service. Our designers please your taste.
Let's reimagine your room with 50 brand name choices.
We'll create a 3D design with a 360 view for your room.
Free design services are just the beginning. Free 0% financing, fast free delivery and setup, and the guaranteed lowest prices in the country with no stipulations.
You'll get a perfect custom floor plan for your new dream room.
Carroll House Design, because you like nice things.
Discover your full potential with a personalized styling experience. Designing, customizing, and transforming the looks of men and women. Revamp your individual style and embrace what makes you, you. That's real confidence.
Welcome back again. Thank you so much this morning for tuning in to the Real Monica Adams Show. If it's your first time, welcome aboard. Come back day after day. Every day we're here for you, Monday through Friday at 7 a.m. And you never know who's going to sit in our chair and what story they're going to tell. Scott Schuessler, a friend of ours from Adventure Unknown. He is the owner of Adventure Unknown. We had him come on today to talk about the awakening, the mental, spiritual, physical awakening. Again, just coming back from Kodiak Island, Alaska. And I know a lot of you sign on every second. So if you've missed this whole show, it's a powerful one. I'm going to turn this into one of our audio podcasts as well. Those drop on Thursdays at 8 a.m. on all the audio podcast platforms. We've got that in addition to the talk show. So Scott, let's go through some comments here. So Jeannie from Texas said, your determination and willpower is more than the average person, Scott. What do you do to mentally prepare yourself? I would depend on my spiritual beliefs. Do you as well?
Yeah, that's definitely a big part. Being a Christian is very important to me, and I mean, it's someone to talk to. You know, when you're up there, you're staring at a side of a mountain for 14 hours a day through binoculars, 12 days in a row. It's not the most exciting thing to do, but and you're suffering, and you're cold, and you're shivering, and you're like, well, I have every piece of clothing I have on, and I can't, you know. Some of those pictures, I look like a Stay Puft Marshmallow.
Yes, you did.
And you know, it is, you got to hang out there. So, you know, there's no one else to talk to.
When you're not going up a mountain, or you're not, and again, and you saw in some of those videos, and Scott and I were, you know, while we were watching the video, because you can see there's a bear right there, right? So you're looking through, and we're seeing a lot of that in the pictures and the videos that we showed you. And then you come back. What else are you using to help yourself get up the next morning and not give up? Are you able to listen to anything, music, read books, anything that's helping you along?
I mean, I didn't bring a book. I'm not a good reader. Choose not to, I guess. But no, I mean, you don't have electricity, so my phone was off 90% because I needed to save the battery for pictures. That was what my phone was for. So if you ran out of extra battery packs, you have no camera. So yeah, you're kind of on your own.
I want you all to think about that again.
Yeah.
Could you go through that? Jenny said, I had no idea the extent of what you were going through till we saw it in Johanna's eyes, his wife again. All right. So would you do it again?
I don't know. I don't feel successful yet. I don't know if I want to go through that again just to get the bear that I might not get again.
Mm-hmm.
They're very elusive. They're very smart. It's not a highly successful hunt. And that's why if you get it, you're like, you know, it's a huge prize. It's a huge successful moment for you. I don't know yet. And that's not an answer I usually give because hunting is so important to me.
Well, and as I said, this isn't one where you're going to come back and be like, oh yeah, I've processed this entire trip in 2 days. This is going to take a while, weeks, months, maybe the rest of his life as he continues to look back at, as I mentioned, there's no other way to put it than the awakening. So I've looked around. I don't think I've really paid attention in the club, the different animals that you have in here. If you had gotten that bear, then what would have happened with that bear? What would you have done with all of that?
Well, I would have put it as a full body mount.
Okay.
I wanted people to see how large these animals are. And they're the top of the food chain. They're the top. Nothing really, they don't really see humans. They don't know who you are. We saw many, many deer on that island, and I'd get 5 yards from them, and they're like, am I supposed to be? They're not afraid of you. They just stand there and watch you walk by. And you know, fox, I was 5 yards away, a beaver, those animals, you never see them. They're very elusive because in the United States they know you're a predator.
A predator, right.
They don't see humans. They don't necessarily know who we are or what we are. So it's just unique. And so trying to get, you know, I love the animals here. some people that aren't hunters are like, oh, that's weird that you have them in here, but it's usually the draw. People want to ask questions about it. And I love having the animals here because there's a story behind every single one. And maybe it's a struggle or a challenge, or it's a success for me, or my daughter has some animals that she shot in there. My wife has some animals. So this was donated, this helped to this person, this is why this animal was taken. There's a story behind them. And, you know, you can put a painting on the wall and say, oh, it's a pretty painting, but there's a lot more behind every animal that's on the wall over there. So personally, and the club is very personal. Everyone here is here for very personal reasons, and we want to keep that.
And you've been open now how long?
Almost 2 years. July will be 2 years.
July is 2 years? Okay,
Yeah.
I thought so. So you have how many members now, and what is the max here?
So we're over 80 members now.
Congrats.
You know, 1 or 2 people join a week. It's enough for us to really figure out who they are and why they want to be here and their personality. We'll probably stop it at 120. You know, we're gaining. We probably will be at 120 by the end of this year.
Again, we talked about it. It could be a personal thing that's drawing you to Adventure Unknown. It could be a professional thing. You know, maybe you're missing out. You're looking for your community. We've been talking a lot since our friend Brian McKenna passed away about your vibe attracts your tribe, and maybe it's here. Your tribe's here. Rich said, Scott, I can totally connect to your story, but I know deep down you're thinking, as much as you learned on that trip, it still would have been nice to come home with a bear.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that would. That's what I was. I wanted to celebrate with friends, the club, my family, that I was successful. The high that I felt like I was going to get was undescribable. I mean, I suffered, I went through this, and I was successful. And in the way that I wanted to be successful.
I was just going to say, I feel you were successful. I know you don't, because you didn't come back with the bear. You weren't able to mount the bear. You weren't able to have people come in the club and go, look what I did. I want you to tell men and women and kids and seniors alike, look what I did. Show them the video. I mean, I don't know too many people that would have endured the 14 days that you endured.
Yeah.
So that is successful. I want you to understand that. I know it's hard for you to wrap your brain around that. And as a man, again, I get what you wanted to come back with. Sherry said, Scott, you truly are an amazing man. I experienced that situation when you were my therapist. You healed my arm after 3 prior therapists couldn't. With your new Adventure Unknown, you are bringing people together for so many reasons and making a difference in so many lives. That's Sherry Lowe.
Oh, I love her. She's awesome. That's funny. I haven't heard her name in a while. So
see the success that people don't know that's around them. Richard said, hey, Scott, maybe you could take up fishing. It seems like a lot less work and much warmer. Nothing more scary than these animals sitting there while they run through the dark to turn on the lights. I can't imagine a bear that size in there. So yes, Jenny, as we come in the morning, we turn the lights on. Can you imagine the bear? But you know what Scott did mention when we looked at him hiking through, at any point, I mean, it's a constant head on a swivel, because that bear could have just been there and jumped out at you. And all of those things are going through your mind of protection. I got to protect myself. Where's it coming from? Where is it?
Yeah, they hide anywhere and everywhere, but they're always hidden. And we're walking through that thick brush, and some of those videos show that. And it's not comfortable. It's a very uncomfortable place, weather-wise and safety-wise. You know, like at any moment, you know, you can be 5 yards away and it just stands up and it's hungry because it just came out of the den. It didn't eat for the last 6 months, and you look good. It's very, you know, you have your gun on you at all times.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah. Stephanie, I give you credit. I hate to say this. There was a bear seen in Waterloo, Illinois. Thank you for sharing your story. He could have stayed here, huh? He could not have gotten that one. So, all right. So we'll wrap it up here. The Awakening. That's what I'm calling today's show. Break it down. And if you put if you could attach one word to physical, one word to mental, one word to spiritual, what would those be?
Well, I do have an overall theme that I thought about, because I know I was going to be asked. Let me get to your question in a second, because I want to.
No, that they go together.
Yeah. So, you know, this club is a lot about asking people to step out of their comfort zone and that's why Adventure Unknown. What is today's adventure that is unknown? It might just be in the club having a conversation. You walked in to get some work done, and you ended up having a great conversation, meeting somebody new, maybe, you know, something that made your day so much better. Maybe it was a successful business meeting, whatever. But travel has always been a challenge for us, and to get friends and anyone to step out of their normal comfort life and to go on a trip. And it doesn't have to be uncomfortable or scary or hunting. We ask people to go on a catamaran on the beach, or lots of very comfortable and fun trips. And it's very difficult for people to say the word yes.
Why do you think?
Because they're so used to their normal life. They're so used to going to their kids' baseball practice, their work. Normal life continues, and they don't want to change the course for 5 days or 7 days. But the problem is every time they come back, they always say, "Thank you so much for letting me have that opportunity to go on that trip." And so I feel like I got to encourage people and almost push them. And so when I'm up on this mountain staring at the woods, and I'm like, I thought about that a lot. Like, how do I get people to say yes? You know, I said yes to this, and I knew it was going to be miserable. How can I get people to say, you know what? I know this trip is going to help me physically, mentally, spiritually, all the above, step away, reset my life, whatever it needs to happen. And it's going to be so much fun. How do I get them to say yes? And I want to encourage anyone that talks to me, stop life for a week and just be okay with it. Just say yes. So my statement is, most people say, "I'd really love to do that, but." Don't let yourself say that statement anymore.
We were taught to always replace the word "but" with "and." So it would be, "I really would love to do that, and I'm going to make it happen." So it's shifting it to that at some point. Scott and Johanna actually told me that when we joined. It was, "Monica, I can't tell you how many people say, well, I would love to, but I got to do this, and they never take the time. And then what do? We get a phone call of a loved one that passed away, or suddenly we get a call from a doctor that says that we're sick, and we never did take that and take the reins head on and then attack it." So I get that. And they've been on some amazing trips. You recently came back. You were in Napa. What was the most recent trip you just came back from?
Well, this year we've been to Patagonia, so then we've been to Napa, Sonoma. We've been to Costa Rica. Those are the last 4 trips we've been on, yeah.
And then what's still on the horizon that maybe has some openings for people to say, "I want to, and I'm going to"?
Well, Mexico just happened last week too. But we go to small trips, side-by-side trips. We do Lake at the Ozarks several times this summer. We're going to Italy again. We're going to...
you have Thailand coming up.
Thailand
is there still some spots
for
that?
We got 1 or 2 spots left open for that in October. That's going to be such an awesome... I mean, it's not an expensive trip. It's a great deal for everything that's included, and people are going to come back changed.
Is there, because again, you've been on so many trips, your entire family. Is there anywhere you haven't been that's still on the bucket list? Or is there some kind of a hunter's? What else is on your bucket list? Because you've done a lot.
Yeah, it's funny. I talked to my guide, and they asked me the same questions. Where have you not been? I go, I haven't been a lot of places. But where do I want to go? I don't know where I want to go. But when I find that experience that's going to make people say, wow, that's where I'm going. And we didn't know we were going to Thailand this year until we found the guy on the ground that we talked to and said, "Here's our club. Here's who we are. Here's what we want. And who are you?" And then when he's like, "I'm here to make your head spin, to give you, we're not going to wait in a line. We're not going to do a tourist attraction. We're going to go everywhere that the locals are and where you're going to see reality." And that's a main difference between, we're not tourist attraction tour guides.
Right.
Where in Thailand are we going to go that no one else is going to go? That's where we're going.
Right, because everybody can type in where to go, where to stay, where to eat, and it's like everybody does the same thing. Great. Some of those are must see, but then it's, where would you go? I love where you get into and you start to friend locals and go, where do you eat? Where do you stay? What experiences do you want? What do you want us to come back, and what's the whether it's a teaching lesson or it's an aha moment or whatever it is, hey, this provided me this at this particular place. And most people would be like, oh, I've never even heard of that. Right. Those are the kind of things that they're providing for you. Again, Scott Schuessler, if you just tuned into the show, again, you missed one heck of a show. We would love for you to continue to ask questions throughout the rest of the day or in the weeks to come. If you catch this later on, share this, by the way, with your family and friends. Okay, so I give you credit. So many people saying nothing more scarier than what you've been through. And now it's an opportunity for you to come back and maybe chill a little bit with your family and appreciate what you've been through. I asked earlier, again, if you could give a word to the physical, mental, spiritual side, but maybe you use words that came from your daughters or from your wife, because you've only been back a couple of days, but I would love to know, what are the first things they said to you?
Well, I walk out of the airport and they come running and jump on me and almost tackle me. So and again, I get teary. Sometimes this yes led to learning that, hey, my family's a lot closer to me and mean a lot more than maybe taken for granted.
Right.
So if I wouldn't have gone on this trip, who knows? I'd still have the same just everyday normal life, just go with the flow type mentality, and instead of stepping back and really realizing what's right in front of me.
Do you feel like you have a whole next level of appreciation for life in all those categories?
Oh yeah. I mean, it's for 14 days not dealing with work. That's hard. 7 days, I can't get people to leave for a weekend to go on a trip.
You can't even do a 3-day trip.
but work's still there, you
Yeah.
know.
And it will still be there.
Yeah.
And life is there, and appreciation of coming back to your loved ones and maybe developing friendships and getting even stronger in those friendships. Let me ask you, have you ever hiked, or anybody here at the club, Machu Picchu? That's
We've
on my
talked
bucket
about
list.
it. I know 2 people that have done it, but
Would you do that?
we've talked about having that trip in this club.
Well, since Johanna and I sat down, I wanted to celebrate my birthday hiking Machu Picchu, and on the actual day of my birthday, standing atop it, but it was during the pandemic and it was closed down. And now I'm told that you better make it happen because it's eroding. So I say we look into that, because to me, I've heard that was one of the most spiritual hikes, trips, experiences that you can go on, and that everyone has tears when they stand atop that. And one, know that you went through it physically, mentally, and then the spiritual side of it.
Right.
So let's put the triangle of life together in that. Okay, we're going to take a break. Thank you, by the way. Thank you so much for coming on, being real. Again, everybody, I want you to see yourself in today's story. It was a really powerful one. So because we are all faith-based, we wrap up every show with a devotional. So what are you feeling today that we need freedom from, Scott? Is it fear and anxiety? Is it depression? Is it shame? I wouldn't say overeating, doesn't fit today. Or anger. Which one do you feel?
It's going to be fear and anxiety.
So what do we say? Every time almost everybody picks. It's every once in a while that a different one gets chosen. But this one's going to be day 64. 100 days to freedom from fear and anxiety. And that's how we'll wrap up next.
Carroll House is now the contemporary furniture design center.
We now have the largest selection of the latest ultra-modern furniture.
Sleek European designs, unique metals, bold lacquers, plush fabrics, and retro styles.
Modern furnishings with exclusive collections only at Carroll House.
Plus free financing, free delivery and setup, and free in-home design.
Visit the St. Louis Center for Contemporary Design inside our 3.5-acre showrooms at Carroll House.
Because you like nice things.
Welcome back. Great show, huh? Again, thanks, Scott. Ask him any comments, or ask him any questions, or make any comments after the show. Maybe you take some time to think, or maybe you reach out to him privately and say, hey, thanks so much for doing this. I'd love to come up there. I'd love to meet you. I'd love to learn more about Adventure Unknown. Again, located on Fen Park Drive in Fenton, Missouri. We would love to see you. So this one's called Possibilities. It's day 64 of 100 Days to Freedom from Fear and Anxiety, these daily devotionals from Stephen Arterburn. And this really helps a lot of people. Jesus looked at them intently and said, humanly speaking, it's impossible. but not with God. Everything is possible with God. This is very fitting for what we just talked about. This is Mark 10, verse 27. Anxiety is born out of a sense of a loss of control and our worry that some situation is going to end badly. Playing out all the options in your mind can multiply that anxiety. It's not realistic to think everything in your life will go as planned. You'll face some situations where you cannot possibly know the outcome. God has given each of us a brain and a free will to make choices as we please. We don't always use our brains, though, in the ways that we need to make wise choices. It usually creates anxiety as we experience the consequences of our choices. Sometimes we feel anxious about a situation that wasn't our choice and doesn't feel like it is part of God's will, and there isn't much we can do about it. At times like that, our brain needs to kick back into gear. We can remind ourselves that for God, all things are in fact possible. God works in ways we cannot see and can work things for our good. We can trust Him with our concerns and our impossible situations. And if you're facing something today, maybe that seems impossible to solve, trust God with it, knowing that He will make a way for you. Oswald Chambers said, God can do nothing for me until I recognize the limits of what is humanly possible, allowing Him to do the impossible. Bob Benson said, when life caves in, you don't need reasons, you need comfort. You do not need some answers, you need someone. And Jesus has not come to us with an explanation. He comes to us with His presence. And Patsy Claremont said, I guess that sometimes, even when we can see something's very wrong, it doesn't mean that God isn't at work executing a much greater plan. Love that one. Here's your prayer today. Heavenly Father, help me trust you with the impossible things in my life, knowing you are sovereign and are working on my behalf in every situation. Amen to that. That one feel fitting to you?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yep. See, God's always up there working for us. All right, everybody. So tomorrow morning, I will not be on at 7 o'clock. Instead, it will be 8 o'clock. And we've been talking about in the news, there's still a lot of talk about weight loss and diabetic, morbidly obese, but there's a lot of myths out there as well. We're going to debunk some medical myths. So this is going to be tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. We'll be sitting down with Dr. Shadi Hawatma from Osiris Med Spa, and that's the website, by the way, osirismedicalspa.com. There he is on the left side and his wife in the middle. They've got a wonderful staff there. So we're going to talk about the weight loss side, but there are many things that they do. They opened up not even a year ago in the Creve Coeur area, so they're right there off of Ballas. We're going to sit down. We're going to show you his place. We'll talk about some of the things that people have been going for, different lasers. They're very big. Actually, his wife loves doing the cool peel, and then people talk about how their skin looks afterwards. I have been putting it off because I keep hearing people say that it feels like a rubber band smacking your face, and I'm like, nothing about that sounds fun. However, with what Scott just went through in life, I think I can have a rubber band smack my face. I think there's a numbing cream they give you anyway. So again, tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock, so you can sleep in a little bit, but then tune in with us. And if you have any questions, again, from a weight loss standpoint, let him answer it. Again, Osiris Med Spa, osirismedicalspa.com is the web address. Thank everybody so much for tuning in today. Thank you to our friend Scott Schuessler for being so real, so raw, and telling his story. Love you all dearly. And again, if there is a topic or a guest you would like for us to have on, just shoot me an email at info@TheRealMonicaAdams.com. Have a wonderful one. God bless. And remember what I always ask you to do, and that is 2 simple words. Be kind.